everyone, it's Simone from Polygon.com, and I'm here with Allegra Frank, and we are going to talk about Detroit Become Human, which we just had a demo, a closed-door demo of yesterday. So the level that we saw yesterday is one that was actually shown off during the Sony press conference. It's the one where Jesse Williams' character, Marcus, goes to break into the store where they're selling androids to free them and start the android revolution. Allegra, what were your impressions of the game after seeing this scene?
Well, I love Heavy Rain a lot, so I do like the David Cage school of like very cinematic, like very emotional, intense story. And I feel like Detroit is very much in that same vein of like, we're going to try and tell a movie in the constraints of a game. And so I was really pumped about what we saw yesterday because I feel like this is, you know, it's kind of a popular sort of genre of like sci-fi android resistance, but as filtered through David Cage's like very melodramatic lens, like I am
It was
sold.
very melodramatic.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll be totally honest with you, after that little scene that we saw, I was not so into it, mostly because I felt the writing was a little bit heavy-handed. There was a lot of like, very heavy-handed, like let's all be free and send a message to the humans and planting our flag on these on the city and stuff like that. It felt a little bit trite. Like I'm all for obviously android revolution, whether it's pacifist or violent, but it felt a little trite. But then I actually went back and I played a different scene of the game, which was the hostage situation scene with the different character Connor. And I walked out of that so pumped for this game,
Oh, wow.
which was not, I didn't go in there being like, this is going to be the greatest E3 moment for me. And then I came out, I was like, shit, I want to play the rest of that. It was really enjoyable. And there's something about being in the gameplay that doesn't, I think, translate when you're just watching it. Because when you're watching it, it looks like a movie, obviously, because he does those things, of course, where you're moving the characters and then it cuts into a close-up for one line of dialogue and it cuts back like a movie might. And that, it feels like you're watching a movie, but not a maybe particularly, well, not one with great dialogue.
Yeah.
A fine movie. But then when I was playing it, I got so into it and into the mechanics, which were really interesting. I want to talk a little bit about the reconstruction mechanic, which is where Connor, as an android police officer or hostage negotiator, basically can look at a clue in the environment and reconstruct what happened around it. So you're going through, rewinding and fast forwarding through this event, and at a certain point you can rotate around and then you'll see a new piece of information that you had missed, and at that point you get to kind of expand your understanding of what happened. And that was really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of ironic that like these sorts of cinematic games aren't a lot of fun to watch, but I think it's exactly what you're speaking to. These aren't great movies, but they're really cool games in the sense that, you know, we don't often get to play games that have interesting camera angles and cutaways that are derived from cinema. So as a film nerd, like I love playing that. I love actually feeling like I'm in control of that. And the mechanic you're describing, the reconstruction thing, I feel like, I imagine that's not the most fun thing for me to sit behind you and watch, but when you're actually in control of it, that sounds like a fun way to sort of interact with a film in a unique, very gamey way. So I completely agree. Watching Detroit, I don't think anyone who was anti-Heavy Rain or hated Beyond Two Souls is going to be sold. I don't think they're going to be like, oh my god, I need to play this now because this is so much better and so different. But actually putting your hands on the thing and trying it out, yeah, like playing a demo, it's a lot easier to understand, okay, this is why people like this sort of thing.
What did you think about the, I guess, themes and issues that this game is addressing around oppression and the city of Detroit?
Yeah, the city of Detroit.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of a heavy, sort of weighted topic too. And Simone and I actually talked to David Cage about this, and I think it is sort of an interesting topic for a non-American to be addressing. This is a very specifically American story that has been visited in previous games before. You know, it's not exactly something untapped by this medium. So I think that will be a little bit tricky for them to balance. So I'm really curious to see if they can pull it off. I think having the 3 different branching narratives could help them. So it's not, if it was just Marcus's story of trying to free fellow androids and instigate this android rebellion, it might feel, as you were saying, trite, it might feel contrived. But I think with the various bending narratives. It could be something that is elevated beyond the typical, like, oh, we've seen this trope before.
I'll be interested to see how branching it gets, because we are told, of course, over and over, like, anything can happen. You can go about this mission any way that you want, and it can have a number of outcomes. I think we've been made that promise before with other games, so I'll definitely be interested to see how expansive it is in the end product. But I was definitely pretty sold after my demo. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. I need to go back and play that demo,
Yeah, you
man.
do.
Oh, I
Get
gotta
in there.
do it. And I gotta get the fancy nuts at the Sony booth.
Thanks, Sony. All right, that's us talking about Detroit. You can watch the rest of our E3 coverage at youtube.com/Polygon. Of course, follow everything else at polygon.com, twitter.com/Polygon, facebook.com/Polygon. I'm out of here. Bye.
Bye.